This is Lions on Tap, a weekly look inside the Lions' Den, presented by Coors Light, the chilled choice and official beer of the BC Lions. Highlights, interviews, and a look ahead to this week's game. Now, here are your hosts, Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski, and the voice of your BC Lions, Bob the Moj Marjanovic.
This is BC Lions on Tap on the mighty 980 CKNW. It's the Moj, Bob Marjanovic, along with Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski, coming to you tonight from Boston Pizza Guildford, 151st and 100th, 15125 100th Avenue to be exact. And a big shout out to Yash and his crew here. Man, I'm looking at these. Every time we come in here, Biggs have got these great lunch menus. A main, a side, and a drink, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. for just $15. I mean, living here if I was working out in Surrey, I don't know, like at the facility or something.
Yeah, this is Kowalski and I were saying how much we love coming here, and it's a great time of year. We've got World Series on the tube, a couple hockey games going, a basketball game over there. And, yeah, live for this time of year. It seems like only yesterday Kowalski and I and Liam over there were up in Kamloops training camp, working during the day, staying up late at night, having some Coors Lights. And here we are in the playoffs all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's been a blur this year, especially with the schedule, I think. Just because of the fact that there's so many of those road games, including Victoria. I think it was, 9 out of 12 weeks are on the road. And it just
roughly, yeah.
All the weeks were like really tight, compact, and boom, the next thing you know, you're out on the road. So we've been home for a while, of course. The team hasn't been on the road, but nice to be in Vancouver. But we'll be going on the road this week. And first off, before we get to talking about the Lions in the Western semifinal against the Saskatchewan Roughriders this upcoming Saturday. Like, can somebody please explain to me, like, what's going on with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the horseshoes that they have accumulated? Because
well, Mother Nature's a fan. Didn't you hear?
Are you kidding me? I'm watching that game, and it's all of a sudden, it's like, what is this? It was like out of a Stephen King horror movie. Like this,
yeah.
all of a sudden the leaves are flying around. Like, Zima shanks the punt. They get the ball, they kick the field goal, game over. I'm just like, this is just nuts.
When you consider the Winnipeg Blue Bombers didn't lead all day long, right?
Yeah.
Until it mattered the most. And, hey, and you've said it. I heard you, or I saw a clip of you talking to our friend Michael Ball in Regina, saying the thing about Winnipeg is you leave the door open just a bit, they'll blow it open. And that's what they did. That's what battle-tested championship teams do. We got to give them the credit. But that's Kowalski's laughing.
The door
now,
wasn't even open. It was literally a second outside nature.
The wind blew it open. No, but I mean, here's the thing: they stopped them, right?
Yeah,
Montreal gets the first down, the game's over. Instead, they wind up punting, and Montreal probably thinking, "Oh, we're going to boot the ball. It's going to be out of field goal range. They might have one play, no time, whatever." And Zima shanks it. It was the shortest punt of the year.
And the thing about Winnipeg, and the thing about Winnipeg too is their offense isn't going. They'll get a big Lucky Whitehead return, which is what they did, and I think their second touchdown of the second half. And they call it complimentary football, I guess. But yeah, so be it. We've talked the last several weeks. This Lions team, plenty of good moments this regular season, but unfortunately, you have a 5-game losing streak. You go into Regina 3 weeks ago with a chance to stay in control, firm control of hosting a division semifinal. It was a mistake-filled football game, obviously. I know we've moved past it, but we're talking about it. Yeah, it was there for the taking. And you know what? I'm excited to see how this team responds to being the quote-unquote underdog.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily even an underdog, right? Because we talk about this team's ceiling. Like we've beaten the Riders back in week 6. I know it wasn't Trevor Harris playing, but they've went into Winnipeg and beat them. It's just a matter of doing it in November. And that's what it's going to boil down to. The confidence is high right now, though.
And you talk about how weird this season has been for all the teams. Saskatchewan had a 7-game winless streak at one point. And there they were. Right? They were 0-6-1 during that stretch.
Probably should have gone first.
1-5-1. Maybe.
Anyway, whatever the case may be. Yet there they were in a position, had Winnipeg not pulled what they pulled to finish first in the division. A very weird year in that respect.
If you look at this season, and I talked about this, I think last week even, or even with Michael Ball and the show in Saskatchewan, every team has had a hot streak and a cold streak, except for Calgary. They've just been cold all year long. But for the most part, I mean, even Hamilton won 4 to 5 games and looked like world beaters. The Lions were 5-1 at one point. Saskatchewan went on a heater. The Bombers were 2-6 at one point, and they went on a heater. Edmonton went on a bit of a heater, right? I mean, it just seems like this has been a real crazy year in the Canadian Football League, and I think the biggest thing is and this is why I think it's anybody's ball game right now in terms of winning the Grey Cup, is the fact that the difference between the teams, there's no super elite team. Like the difference between the ceiling and the floor with the teams in the CFL is probably the narrowest it's ever been.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, again, that's going to make this race to the 111th Grey Cup so exciting. You look at the Eastern semifinal, Ottawa going into Toronto. The Red Blacks, the first half of the year, really up until Touchdown Pacific, were kind of that feel-good story. Yeah. So, yeah, it's anybody's ball game at this stage.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the Lions as they continue to prepare for the game in Regina this Saturday that you can hear on 980 CKNW, Lions Radio Network and Audio Network. It's interesting because usually I look over in that one corner of the practice area, and there's like 6 or 7 guys that are there stretching or kind of going through the rehab process. I looked in the corner today. There's nobody there. Like, everybody was practicing sans Josh Woods, I think. He's the only guy that didn't practice that's on the injured list.
Correct.
And of course, he's got a torn ACL. He's gone for the year. But everybody is healthy, and that's a great sign when you get into the playoffs, is to have everybody on board, particularly when I think about some of the guys on offense, namely Jalon Edwards-Cooper and David Mackey, who I think are valuable pieces of that offense.
Right at the quarterback position too, right? I think one of these underrated aspects is that these last 2 years, obviously in 2022, Nathan Rourke came back from the Liz Frank injury. And then last year, Vernon's knee wasn't 100% in the playoffs. And he battled through it in Calgary. Obviously couldn't get it done in Winnipeg with his knee injury. But this is the first time in these last 3 years that the Lions are at the quarterback position, healthy, as strong as ever. And there's 2 of them too. That's the beauty of it right now.
Energy level, good at practice as well. And that's something that we've seen since Vernon has taken over a quarterback. It just seems like, and hey, guess what? Winning provides a spark as well. And that's what the Lions did with the 27-3 victory over the Montreal Alouettes.
And remember that we talked about it last week. They did get some work in on the bye week. 2 practices, Wednesday, Thursday. They ended up taking Friday off, I think, because Rick Campbell was satisfied in the approach, satisfied that they worked on all the situations they wanted to work on. There was red zone emphasis, there was tempo, and back to the whole injury thing, it's also a credit to the medical and training staff. Aaron Balson, Anna, Ashley, Ernesto Morocco, of course. Normally, you said it, they're pretty busy there in the corner of the field working out or helping rehab the injured guys, but yeah, going to be some great options when it comes to the lineup, that's for sure. And Javon Katoya, a name you just mentioned there, I think he's going to be a big factor here.
One of the guys who is healthy, and we're going to talk to him tonight, is Lions cornerback Jalon Edwards-Cooper. We'll talk to Jalon in a few minutes' time, but we'll talk to him about his situation, of course, missing a significant amount of time with a shoulder injury. He's back and playing that wide side corner and playing it well. But when you look at this game against Saskatchewan, man, I just look at this, and the more I think about it, the more people I talk to, it starts with the offense. And what I mean by that is that I think the defense feeds off of the offense's energy, right? And because of that, if the offense is clicking, the defense will be clicking. And guess what happens with the specials? The specials will be clicking. You want to know why? Because most of the guys on specials play what? Defense. Right? So I think it starts with the offense, and they got to go out there against Saskatchewan. They got to stay on schedule on second down. Don't get into 2nd and 9, 2nd and 10s. Get into a situation where it's a 2nd and 5. Well, how do you do that? Well, short passing game. But here's the big difference in that I'm excited about. You got William Stanback this year. You didn't have William Stanback the last couple of years. To me, he is going to have to play a pivotal role for this team in that game with them staying on schedule. William Stanback can be a factor. And guess what? Stay committed to William Stanback. Don't go away from the running game just, because you've got 80 yards at halftime. Hey, if it's working, don't fix it, right?
Yeah.
Just go out there and pound the rock.
Yeah, this and Stanback, by the way, another guy who was a little nicked up against Montreal, but the bye week did him some good. He's full go. He's going to be ready. Yeah, this to me is a time of possession. You said it, 2nd and short. No self-inflicted wounds, right? It was at 6 turnovers in Regina 3 weeks ago, 4 in the first half, which led to 17 of the Riders' points. That whole sequence right after the 3-minute warning, I'm still scratching my head, but yeah, just can't make mistakes. No self-inflicted wounds.
Guys, mistakes are going to happen.
Yeah.
Mistakes are going to happen, okay? That's the thing. in sports and football and whatever sport, mistakes are going to happen.
It's how you
react to those mistakes. They got to go out there and they have to have a championship mindset. It's that simple. They've shown it at points this season, but they have to show it this weekend and hopefully the weekend after and the weekend after. And how you do that, you go out there and you think you own the place, right? Play with confidence. If you're on defense, play aggressively. Guys running an under route, jump it. Don't allow him to catch the ball and make an 8-yard tackle or a tackle for 8 yards. Jump it. Break it up. Offense, stay on your block. Finish your block. The other thing, too, defense, get guys flying around. Play with aggressiveness. Play with confidence. If you got guys flying around the football, guess what? Who knows? Like I wrote about in my column today for Black Press, who knows? Ball might go off a guy's heel, might pop into your arms, could be a pick six.
Yeah.
Right? But you do that. You get around the football defensively, and you play with confidence. And if you get knocked down, who gives a, you know what? I'm going to make a play the next time. Right? That's the type of mindset you have to have. You can't let negative plays determine your fate. Oh, here we go again. Oh, man, I guess I can't allow that to happen again. BS. Play it. Just go out there and play hard. That's what you got to do, and if they do that, they'll be fine.
Yeah. To me, the big challenge with the Rough Riders is that when you do make mistakes, they capitalize, and they're a team that have been making or generating takeaways. They lead the league in turnover ratio takeaways by a long shot, and we saw that in that 6-0 turnover ratio in Week 19. In Week 6, the Lions may not win that game unless Josh Archibald has that hustle play where he forces a fumble in the fourth quarter and it leads to another touchdown drive, right? So, yeah, like you said, it's all about hustle.
But, here's the thing,
it's all about takeaways, too.
But, takeaways, you're right. Okay, but I'll give you the Victoria game as an example. That game, Ottawa had two really big plays where they had a 1st and 10, I think at the 40 one time and the other time at the 40. They're in BC territory. Both times, 2 and outs. Both times, instead of kind of going, oh, no. No, they played with a lot of passion. They played with confidence, and they were aggressive on defense. They got a 2 and out, and guess what? They won that football game, and that's what they got to get back to doing. That's what they got to do. They did it against Montreal, and they got to do it against Saskatchewan, and hopefully the weekend after and the weekend after.
The thing that the thing about Week 19 too is BC had 6.1 yards per play, Saskatchewan at 6.4. And I think when Nathan Rourke postgame said we did a lot of things well, people thought he was crazy, but that's what he was talking about. Yeah. And it's the 6-0 turnover ratio that did the Lions in and made it a 31-point defeat.
Well, hopefully that's not the case this weekend. All right, we're going to take a quick break. On the other side, Lions cornerback Jalon Edwards-Cooper is our guest as we come to you from Boston Pizza. 151st and 100th Avenue in Surrey. Yash and his crew, of course, taking care of us. And again, they've got game day specials every Sunday and every Monday and every Saturday. And guess what? Lunch. How about this? A main, a side, and a drink, Monday through Friday, 11 to 3 p.m. for $15. Kowalski will be here.
Kowalski's planning his 2-hour lunch tomorrow already.
On the other side, Jalon Edwards-Cooper stops by. You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW.
Now, back to more of Lions on Tap, presented by Coors Light. Once again, here are Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski, and Bob the Moj Marjanovic.
You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW. You heard the man, Moj, Matt, and Nick, coming to you from Boston Pizza tonight. 15125 100th Avenue in Surrey, basically 152nd and 100th Ave. Big shout out to Yash and his crew, and as we mentioned prior to the break, great pizza, great food. I had the Cajun wings. I'm kind of a little silly. I go to a pizza place, and I had ordered the Cajun wings, which I just love because they're baked.
They're good,
They're so good. They're dry. Although I did have a little bit of your pepperoni pizza.
Yeah, the square pizza, highly recommend.
That's good.
Yeah, pepperoni, bacon. Yeah, very, very highly recommended.
And check it all out. Of course, as we mentioned, they've got game day specials, and they've got the big lunch special Monday through Friday, 11 to 3. And that includes a main, a side, and a drink for $15. All right, we are going to talk with Jalon Edwards-Cooper right now, BC Lions starting cornerback. Jalon, welcome. Nice to have you on board.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here, man.
Yeah. So, usually we talk about the season and get in all that, but, man, I'm looking at you and I'm thinking to myself, are you supposed to be in Saskatchewan right now? I mean, you're with the Lions. Of course, you suffered that shoulder injury, knocked you out. You signed with the Riders, but deja vu, you're back in BC. How good did it feel to return to the Lions?
Man, I was ecstatic, honestly. It was a blessing in disguise for me because I wanted to be in BC all along, honestly, if you want to be honest, the whole time. But it just didn't work out, in the business side. But I was just ecstatic to be back.
You look at this team, and you look at it right now with the energy that it's playing with. How good is the group right now in terms of the confidence level heading into the game in Regina?
I think the confidence is very high for the whole team. I think so right now. the energy that we're putting out in practice in the last game in Montreal, I just feel like it sparked a good spark for us, and it gave us a good spark in the right direction. So I feel like the confidence is very high and it's continuing to grow.
You know, I kind of talked about this in the previous segment. I want to get your take. Rick Campbell always talks about complementary football, but it just seems that with this team, it really, I think the defense gets its energy from the offense. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would have to say that because, you know, as a defense, when you're looking at your offense and they're struggling and you're on the field all day, you know, it's just not that same spark as if your offense is scoring and, you know, they're doing all the big things that they need to do. It just gives us a better feeling, you know, to go out there and want to play and get the ball back for them.
Well, I think the other thing, too, is when your offense is struggling, man, a lot of times you feel that pressure, right? Especially when they have good field position. The opposing team maybe gets the ball at the 40-yard line or midfield. You're like, oh, man, we don't stop them here. They're going to get points. And that's kind of there is that pressure because we're not talking them driving the field. We're talking 2 first downs in your field goal range, right?
Right, exactly. So it is tough.
What was the process like? Moj talked about it being in Saskatchewan, not quite 100% yet. When had you been in discussions with Neil and the brass right away when the season got going? What was that all like?
I think when I first got released from Saskatchewan, I had a lot of the guys, man. They were texting me, you know, trying to get me back. I talked to Ryan. That was the main person that I spoke to, and he told me, you know, as soon as you're ready, there's always a chance for you back here. So I had already had that in the back of my mind. So I knew what I was going to do.
And the timing also worked out. We were just talking beforehand. Your roommates with Gary Peters.
Right.
That must be an adventure.
Exactly. That's all I love. I love him, man. It's my brother.
Well, you're familiar with Gary and Manny, TJ, obviously, but there's some newcomers and new starters in the secondary, Ronald Kent Jr., Christophe Beaulieu. We got to witness their kind of upbringing in training camp, but what did you make when you first kind of got to learn Ron's game and Christophe and how that all gels together?
Man, I love those guys, man. You know, just meeting the guys, man, I feel like they that I've been there, the 3 years that I've been here, I feel like, you know, that they've been here all with us the whole time, just how we're bonding and stuff like that. But, man, I love Ron's game. I love Christophe's game, man. I feel like they bring a different aspect to what we have in the back end. And I feel like it's great, you know, just to have them here.
Your roomie, Gary Peters, who we can do an entire show on. I know Gary's a big fan of Ronald Kent Jr.
Right.
And you play with him on that wide side. He plays the half. Of course, you play the corner. Do you see the same potential with Ronald Kent Jr.? Definitely.
Just the way he moves, his footwork. I mean, I feel like his game, you know, you can just see it, just how he moves. And, you know, he's coming down, tackling, hitting guys, you know, behind the field, tackle for loss. He's also covering, you know, force fumble, whatever you want. So I feel like he's playing great, and it's been a great just playing beside him.
It's just about getting reps, I guess, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Your game, and I want to talk a little bit about you in the sense that I remember talking to you prior to your first game back when you came back and started. And I asked you how the shoulder was. You said, it's the reason I sat out this time and haven't come back. I wanted to make sure the shoulder was 100%. What was that like being away from the game that you love for that extended period of time? And I imagine at times there might have been doubts whether or not you're going to come back given the injury and the severity of it.
Man, it was difficult, man, just sitting out, man. Before that time, I had never been released in my life. So it was kind of just hard just to sit back and watch the games every week, watch the BC Lions play every week, you know, and knowing that I'm not there. You know, it was tough just to sit back, but I knew once I just really doubled down on my rehab, man, that I knew I was going to get back.
You know, we've talked to Keon Hatcher on this show. I've talked to TJ Lee after practice about this, and others as well throughout, you know, my time in this business. A lot of times when you talk to athletes that have had a serious injury, a significant injury, of course with Keon and TJ, it was those Achilles. When you get the game taken away from you, and you come back, there's a different sense of appreciation, isn't there?
Yes, you cherish it more, you know, just because it could be gone from you just like that fast.
Yeah.
So
we talked about Ronald Kent. He was a guy, all of us in training camp said, oh, yeah, this guy could be a keeper, could be a player. Go back to when you first got here, 2021. Remember, it was weird times, returning to play, COVID protocols, but you emerged with a roster spot, and I want to say did you have your first interception in Calgary early in the season? Yeah, first game. Yeah, it was a defensive struggle. Just that whole process of coming out of camp, earning a spot, and essentially getting thrown in. What was that like for you?
Man, I just, at that time, I feel like, well, even still now, but at that time, I think I had a boulder on my shoulder, I would say, because just coming out of college, just sitting that whole year out, not getting a chance to play ball at all, I just thought it was over for me. So once I got my shot, man, I just ran with it. Who
else in that first camp did sort of take you under their wing and help show you the ropes?
It was mainly GP, TJ, those guys, man. I looked at them, and they were older, So even Marcus Sells, so it was all those guys. I feel like they made the game easier for me, just playing with those vets.
I got to set the record straight about, I'm happy you brought up Marcus Sells. In week 6 when Sask came back, there was a big story, I think on TSN was airing it, where they were saying, Marcus Sells was still in the group chat, even though he got released. And then the game week, he got kicked out of it. Were you in that group chat still, or how did that all work? Because you were in the same boat kind of, where you went to Saskatchewan and Marcus did too.
I wasn't in the group chat. Okay. I never knew about it.
Well, there you go.
He's taking the fifth. Jalon Edwards-Cooper is our guest, Lions starting cornerback. Of course, we're coming to you tonight from Boston Pizza, 152nd Street and 100th Avenue in Surrey. A big shout out to Yash and his staff. This week, the game against Saskatchewan, from a defensive perspective, what do you guys have to do to be successful? Because I went off in a little bit of a rant in the previous segment. I don't know if you heard that, but to me, it's just about you guys playing with passion, playing with confidence, playing aggressively. And I think if you guys do that, you guys are going to be fine.
The one thing I think you that I heard you over say, and it stuck with me, championship mindset. I think that's very big for us. Playing with a championship mindset that we can't be defeated. We just go out there with that passion and that confidence, man, and want to win because we know we can win.
Yeah, and if you get knocked down, who cares?
Exactly.
Get right back up.
Exactly.
Right?
So I think that's the main thing, just going out there with that confidence, that swagger, man, knowing that we are the guys. And I feel like we'll do what we're supposed to do.
You know something about a championship. You won an NCAA Div 2 championship at Texas Commerce, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
Talk a little bit about that mindset, that mentality you had with that group.
I feel like that group, man, we were hungry, man. A lot of guys hungry, man. Played with a guy named Cater Cole who plays for the Miami Dolphins right now. He was my other corner, man. We just really wanted it that year, I feel like. And I feel like the same energy around right now is kind of familiar, so it's making it like that championship mindset is coming back, even though it should have never left. It should have never been gone anyway. But I feel like this year, it's for us. I feel like we're supposed to do what we're supposed to do. So
I remember Pete Carroll said something about the Seahawks one year. He said their mindset, they don't think they're going to win. They know they're going to win. And there's a difference there, right?
It is,
right?
Definitely.
That's a big thing. So you look at this game against Saskatchewan. We've talked about it. From a defensive perspective, I just look at this team, and I think, to me, you got to play with passion. You got to play with aggressiveness. You got to play with confidence. Get hats around the football, right? And when you guys do that, you guys fly around. You play good football. It's when you're tentative, right? When you're kind of caught in that no man's land. Do I come? Do I go? Do I jump this route or do I sit back? That's when you start running into problems.
Right. Definitely.
Right.
I think it's fair to say, too, with the Western run games, you got A.J. Ouellette and Brady Oliveira coming up. These are two bruiser backs. But on the flip side, you and Gary are two of probably the best tackling corners in the CFL. I think it's fair to say that. Is that something RP's kind of harping on this week, or is that just something that kind of see where the cards fall and play that role when it comes?
I think he's been just since I've got back, at least, he's been harping on tackling and being where you're supposed to be, bringing your feet, running through the tackler, the ball, just trying to get that ball, get that turnover. So I think we've been just trying to, do what we're supposed to do.
The one thing that RP does talk about, and this kind of gets lost a lot of times, everybody thinks stopping the run is kind of on the line and the linebackers. But he says you got to have all 12 guys, right?
Definitely.
And that includes the corners, the halves, the safety. All you guys got to come up and, it's the old expression, you might not make the play, or probably you might not make the tackle, but you made the play.
Right.
And what we mean by that is if you guys come up and, say, force a guy to cut back inside, you're not going to get the tackle. But the fact that you were in position, now he cuts back into a guy who does make the tackle.
Exactly. Just flying to the ball.
Yeah. And we talked about that as well. See, I should be coaching this team. RP should be hiring me as an assistant.
Yep.
Okay, we'll take a quick break. On the other side, we'll talk to Jalon Edwards-Cooper about his journey in the game of football that started in the state of Texas. All that and more coming up right here on tap on 980 CKNW.
Now, back to more of Lions on Tap, presented by Coors Light. Once again, here are Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski, and Bob the Moj Marjanovic.
You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW, coming to you tonight from Boston Pizza, 152nd Street and 100th Avenue in Surrey. 15125 100th Avenue to be exact. Big shout out to Yash and his staff for having us here. A great location. The food's tremendous. And of course, all types of specials on game day. And they actually have a lunch special, a main, a side, and a drink, Monday through Friday from 11 to 3 for only $15. You cannot beat that.
And our guy Yash is in the spirit. He's got his playoff beard going already.
That's good. That's good. There
you go.
I don't know if it's a beard or maybe a whisker, but anyway. Jalon Edwards-Cooper is our guest tonight. Lions starting cornerback on the wide side, working in tandem with Ronald Kent Jr. Jalon, a lot of times we have individuals join us on the show. We like to talk about their journey in the game of football and how it started. You're born in the great state of Texas, Spring, Texas to be exact. Mm-hmm. What was it like growing up in Texas, and you know how did you get involved in football?
Football was always a big thing for me. You know, I played with my cousin. We both grew up together, and my uncle, he started coaching Pee Wee, and that's how I initially got into football. Started at 7 years old, been playing football ever since.
And when did you kind of realize that, hey, I might be good at this game. Like, I might have a future in it.
I think, kind of in high school, I was like, man, you know, because I played a lot of sports. I was track, baseball, basketball, everything. But I kind of just settled in on one thing. You know, I kind of wanted to give all my time to one thing. And I think once I put it into football, it came pretty easy to me. You know, I was picking the ball, interceptions, and it just made an easy decision for me.
Now, you didn't go to a big school. You went to, as we mentioned, a Div 2 school, and a good one that won an NCAA Div 2 championship in Texas A&M Commerce. How did that all come about? And did you have offers from big schools, or was it just a situation where they're looking at you to walk on, man?
SMU was a school that I was looking at going. I had it wasn't a scholarship offer yet, but it was leaning towards that way. So I thought about doing that. My cousin, he always also went there, Xavier Jones. So that kind of made it a little easier for me. But I was like, man, they wanted to redshirt me, and I want to play when I got there. You know, I want to be a true freshman. So Commerce made it easy for me. I had a coach who really wanted me there, you know, and I felt the love. So Commerce, that was the school I went to.
What was the level of football like? I mean, I imagine Div 2 in Texas got to be pretty good still.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty decent. I wouldn't say it was just too much of the best, but once you start getting the playoffs in Texas, man, I feel like anywhere you start to see real good players. And, you know, that year we won the Division 2 championship. We've seen a lot of good teams. We went to Minnesota, played out there. They ran the ball really well. We just held up really well and played our game.
Every kid wants to play in the NFL. They want to play pro. How much did the fact that no Div 1 school gave you a ride kind of have, you know, give you fuel, give you energy for that?
It did.
To prove people wrong?
It did. I think that's where the Boulder initially came from. Just, you know, going Division 2, small school. Felt like already nobody really believed in me. You know, nobody wanted to give me that chance. So, like I said, and then coming out of school, I didn't get, you know, the NFL look. So it was kind of difficult for me to take in. So that Boulder came, and I just wanted to go get it all and prove people wrong.
Yeah, so other than that, other than winning the championship and everything, what was a big moment for you there that maybe set you further on the path to becoming a pro? Was there a big play, a big game, anything like that?
I felt that the Natty, the national championship, I got defensive MVP that game. I had an interception. I had like 4 or 5 pass breakups. That was a big game that really put me on the map. And that next year, I was the guy. So I feel like that was the one.
Not to draw a negative here, but I'm looking at a 47-42 loss. That's the only game you guys lost that year?
47-42.
Yeah.
Who was that to?
Midwestern State.
Yes, they did. That was our rival. And that game was actually played in 2 days. So the first day, because we had a rain delay.
What, you guys playing cricket?
Might as well. So we had a rain delay the first day, in which we played the first half, and then we had to drive all the way back home, and then they rescheduled the game for only the second half for the next day at North Texas. So we ended up playing 2 days in one game.
So how much did that suck? Because like football's not a game where you just pick up and
right, exactly. You playing one half 2 days, 2 different days. It's crazy.
When did you get in touch with the Lions and CFL teams? Did anybody else come calling, or was it strictly the Lions? And how did all that work out?
Well, I think I actually had Saskatchewan.
Really?
There you go.
I think I had Saskatchewan as well, but the Lions, they called my agent. Like I said, Ryan, he was a really good friend.
We're talking about Ryan McMaden, the personnel director, okay.
Yep, he was one of the good friends with my agent, man. They gave me a workout. Came out there, I flew all the way to Washington for the workout. Went out there and did what I was supposed to do, and I was hoping they were going to give me a workout, chance to come to the training camp, and they did, so.
What did you know about the CFL?
Nothing at all. I knew nothing at all before
so
coming
hold on,
out here.
you didn't know anything until you didn't watch film, anything. You just came out to camp and you're like, why are there 12 guys on the field?
Pretty much. I mean, once I got the chance and they told me I was coming to training camp, so I was like, okay, let me at least get a little bit familiar with it before I go. Try to learn, a little bit of the rules and stuff like that. So when I got here, I mean, I wasn't all the way out the loop, but I was still a little bit out the loop.
Yeah.
So it took some time to learn it.
Like you're like seeing receivers running towards the line of scrimmage. You're like, where's the flag?
I've never seen that in my life.
Wow. How much of an adjustment was it?
It was pretty difficult at first, honestly, just because, you used to seeing a receiver just stagnant, just stand at the line, and now you have to guard him when he's running full speed at you. It's kind of different, but it makes you use your feet more and cover more. So I feel like I got way better using my feet.
I remember talking to guys that have played in the NFL and they spent time in the CFL. They said one of the biggest things that the CFL taught them, and had they not played in the CFL, they doubt they would have been able to go back down south.
Right.
They said you have to learn to use your feet as a cornerback, as a DB, because there's no jamming, right? You don't sit there and jam a guy off the line. You've got to be using your feet every time with all that waggle motion, right? So you can't be caught flat-footed, and that's a big key. Family's important for you, right?
Definitely.
And like reading some stuff about you, like talk a little bit about the influence of family.
Family, man. Without them, I don't even know where I would be, honestly. And they're watching right now. Hello, family.
Well, give them a shout out. Don't say family. Your mom.
My mom, my grandma, Cindy, my girlfriend, my wife, Ashley.
Hold on. You said girlfriend and wife?
Girlfriend, soon to be wife.
Okay, I thought you said girlfriend and wife. I'm going, man, you're brave. You're brave if you're going with that. I say hi to my girlfriend, say hi to my wife.
Soon to be wife.
I think that'd be called a fiance.
Yeah, they're on me. It's time to propose. But yeah, they're watching. But family, man, is really big. I just had my little girl, man. She's 9 months, and fatherhood has changed my life, honestly.
In which way?
For the best. It was difficult at first. I will say that, but once you start to get adjusted to it, man, it's so beautiful, and that's what I really learned. It's so beautiful just being a father and just being there for your family and wanting to be there. So.
What's the favorite thing about being a dad? Because as someone who has a girl myself, it's going to get even more fun after a few months. They start walking and talking, but. You have a rough day, you get on a little FaceTime or you get together, it kind of brings you back to perspective, doesn't it?
Definitely, it definitely does. I mean, it eases everything, if you're stressing or thinking about whatever, man, once that little girl gets on the phone, man, everything goes away,
You already have plans to get her to start playing football, start throwing the ball around? What's that going to be like?
Yep, look, actually, when she came down to the game, I got her a little orange football, the fans that they throw to the fans.
Oh, yeah.
Gave it to her. She's had it in hand running around the house now. So.
Have you been comparing notes with Sean White at all? Because he's a new dad as well.
All right, I talked to Sean a little bit about it too, and Sean, man, he's good, man. He say he's taking it in well, and I just wish the best for him, because every fatherhood is just different for everyone. I feel like.
I think one of the biggest sacrifices he's had to give up are video games.
Right.
It's that same with you?
It's same with me.
Yeah.
She's on me, man. My wife, man, she's on me.
What do you play?
I Call of Duty, 2K, but mainly Call of Duty. That's what I'm really big at, and it gets all my time.
I thought you might be one of those guys that's into the NCAA franchise, because I know a lot of guys have jumped back on board with the re-release of that this year.
Yeah, I mean, I played NCAA a little bit, but mainly that Call of Duty, man, I cannot get it out.
Okay, have you played Tyler Packer yet?
I play with Tyler Peck, and Packer, he's definitely one of those ones.
He's the best one.
He's the dude.
Yeah.
When it comes to video games, he's like the dude on the team.
He is, man. He's going to carry everybody. Put him in the backpack.
Like, seriously, you think of Tyler Packer, he's a big offensive lineman, kind of cerebral, quiet. Not the type of guy that you think would be like a video game king, right?
All right. You get him on that game, man. Look, a whole different player.
Yeah. Hey, one thing I wanted to ask you as well, we're talking about family.
All right.
Your first name.
Jalon, yeah.
Yeah, where'd that come from?
Jalen Rose. That's what my mom tells me, at least. She loved Jalen Rose, just growing up. So I feel like she said that's where I got my name from. But
she a big Michigan fan, or was it mainly with the Pacers?
I think with the Pacers.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So, and he had the E in the name. So she just gave me the O. So she wanted to be a little different.
Speaking of sports, Spring, Texas, just outside of Houston, correct? So big on the Houston teams as a kid and still, or who are some of your other sports heroes?
LeBron James, man. LeBron. That's one dude for me, I'm going wherever LeBron's going, but of course I'm rooting for the Houston teams, man. So the Texans, the Rockets, I try to do that, but LeBron, he's my main guy. So.
Didn't say Astros, though, right?
I like the Astros, too, as well. I love the Astros,
enough.
too. But I'm just mainly big on the Rockets and the Texans.
I will say this. One of the best tailgates I ever did was a Houston Texans game a few years back.
They get a little rowdy.
That the old Astrodome is still there, standing, at least was at that time. And
you didn't ask Covington for his autograph when he showed up, did you?
Yeah.
No, look, Covington, he actually, so my coach in college at Commerce, it was my last year, he actually coached him at Rice. And
really?
Covington, he came to see, I guess they invited him to, come see us practice one day. He actually spoke to us. So I'm like,
wow.
Man, now I'm on a team with this guy. Like, it's crazy.
Oh, really? That's an amazing story.
Small world.
Right.
Hey, before we let you go, final thoughts. Saskatchewan and the game this weekend.
Dominate, man. I just think we go out there with that energy, that confidence, like I said, man. Be disciplined. For defense, I think turnovers are very big for us. I feel like, and we've been preaching it this week, getting the ball to the offense and letting them do what they're supposed to do. I feel like as long as we do that, man, we come out with the victory.
Well, hopefully, we will come up with a victory.
We will.
We're going to start getting the same mindset, because what we do is we start polluting your minds by saying
it's a mindset, yeah.
It's a mindset. We've got everybody saying we will come out of it with a victory.
Right.
Hey, Jalon, it's been great catching up with you tonight and your story. It's an amazing story, but thank you so much for stopping by, and good luck this weekend in Regina.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me, man.
Thanks, Jalon.
Jalon Edwards-Cooper, Lions starting cornerback, our guest as we come to you from Boston Pizza tonight out in Surrey. And a big shout-out to Yash and his staff for having us here and their hospitality. We'll take a quick break. On the other side, Nick Kowalski. Yes, his world-famous trivia coming up. You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW.
This is Lions on Tap, presented by Coors Light, the chill choice and official beer of the BC Lions. Now it's time for Nick Kowalski's world-famous trivia.
Oh, yeah, Nick Kowalski's world-famous trivia. All the way from Guildford to Goose Bay, Newfoundland. They are waiting in anticipation of it. You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW. The aforementioned Nick Kowalski, of course, his trivia is coming up. Matt Baker will try to answer some of those questions along with yours truly, the Moach, Bob Marjanovic. And again, a big shout-out to Yash and his staff here at Boston Pizza in Guildford in Surrey. Kowalski, the floor is yours.
All right. So in case you are listening to this show but you live under a rock, the BC Lions are playing the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the playoffs this weekend. It's the 11th year or 11th time, because back in 1963 in their first meeting, it was a 2-1 series that I unfortunately couldn't track any data from. Apparently a swoop of win gave the Lions that win too, I'm hearing.
It's 12th meeting between the two teams.
This would be will be 5-5 right now.
It's 10 pre. Well, you're counting the best of 3 games in the series.
But anyways, the point being is I did not source any data from that game, so it's knockout 1963.
Okay.
But from the other meetings, and if you're here or if you're you guys, I'm feeling generous today. So I have the years in front of you guys. So we have 1973, 1974, 1988, 2004, 06, 07, 08, 10, and 13. Those are the 10 years they've played. 19 different BC Lions have scored a touchdown in the playoffs against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. You guys are going to name them for me. Baker, I can see the brain clicking here. We'll start with you.
Anthony Cherry.
Anthony Cherry, he had 3 touchdowns back in 1988.
How about Sean Millington?
Are we going back and forth here, Nick?
Yes, we go back and forth.
So
Moj is incorrect with Sean Millington.
Okay.
So 1-0 Baker.
Let's go.
I'm playing this under protest.
Why is he doing that?
I don't know. I'm just protesting anyway.
Okay, we will let the league office know. Okay, so anyone who scored at least 1 touchdown.
Yeah, you have the years in front
Ryan
of you.
Thelwell.
Ryan Thelwell is correct.
0-4 opening drive Western Final.
How do you remember this?
Baker's on a roll.
I didn't do homework when I was in school, but I remember this stuff.
Priorities.
Yeah.
2-0 Baker.
Bob's up.
Joe Smith.
Joe Smith is correct. He's the only guy.
Nice.
He's one of two guys to do it in multiple years. 06 and 07. He had 2 and 06 as well.
I'm going 2010 Hail Mary to force overtime. Emmanuel Arsenault.
Emmanuel Arsenault is correct. I had him in the wrong area, but he's there. Correct.
Okay, I'm going old school because this is my era. These are my 73, 74. Little Moji would listen to the Jim Cox on the radio and NW calling the games. They weren't on TV back then. The Lions were going to Regina. They lose. I was like 9 years old, extremely disappointed. So I'm going to go with the running backs that I know from that era. From the University of Alabama, played for the Chicago Bears after he left BC. How about Johnny Musso?
Johnny Musso is 1973.
Oh, baby! Boom!
He's back, baby. He's back.
That's a pull.
I just was talking about this with someone here. 2008, you had a Ryan Phillips pick 6, did you not?
Correct. Defensive touchdown, Ryan Phillips.
Ooh.
RP.
Well, if you're going to go 2008, how about G-Roy Simon? He had to catch one. G-Roy hasn't been listed yet, has he?
G-Roy Simon, 08 and 07.
Ooh, hey, I get double points because I had Joe Smith as well.
Those are the two
That's
players.
why I'm protesting. I should be getting 2 points each time I get a guy that gets 2.
Those are the other players to do it in
I'm protesting.
multiple years.
Okay, what else you got?
2010, I think he had a short spell of good play. Was it Stephen Black? I think he had one.
Baker, you have the year wrong. You do. I have the guys wrong. Stephen Black, 2010 is correct.
He did, yeah.
That is a good pull. I had the wrong S name.
6, 7, 8. I'm going to go with the receiver, Paris Jackson.
Paris Jackson, correct. That's the other guy. Scored twice.
2006.
That game was.
And I actually get double for that because they scored two touchdowns.
We'll call
you go.
We'll call it a tie because Baker had the lead.
We haven't hit 2013 yet, have we?
Yeah. One guy's pretty well known, and he scored twice in this game.
In 2013?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, boy.
Gadget guy. Does that kind of give away him?
Yeah, probably. Tim Brown?
Incorrect.
Okay.
Go to Moj. We still have 74 as unanswered.
74, I'm going to go with a guy who's a great running back in the state. They had 3 running backs back then. They had Johnny Musso, Monroe Ely, who actually wound up playing for the Atlanta Falcons. No relation to East.
No relation to East.
No relation to East, we found out. The other guy was Lou Harris.
Lou Harris. That's a good pull, Moj.
There you go.
Thank you.
That's one of the 74 guys. So we're missing 2 guys in 88, 1 guy in 08, 1 guy in 74, 2 in 04, and 2 in 13.
2004. I should remember who had this. Antonio Warren.
Bang.
Yeah.
You guys are
running
on a
back.
roll. You guys are on a roll here. This is
replaced by Joe Smith in the 07 year. So there you go. Synergy.
So 2008, 2000, 1988. That's from my era. I'm going to go, how about Mervin Fernandez?
Incorrect.
Ooh.
Back to Baker.
2004, we're missing 1?
Yes, he is a receiver. I'll give some more hints here. Any help here?
Chris Brazel.
Chris Brazel, Baker.
That's it?
You guys are on a roll here.
How about 88? I'm going to go with Eric Streeter.
Correct.
Nice.
We're on a roll. So we got 6 names left. Sorry. These are definitely a little harder. We got 1 quarterback, 1 kind of gadget.
Was a quarterback in 2010?
Maybe.
No, what do you mean maybe?
I said maybe.
Travis Lulay.
Travis Lulay is correct.
Okay, the protests now, there's 2
I
protests
said maybe.
going on. You can't give them a clue. You don't say anything.
I said we have a quarterback.
He
said you had a quarterback. How come you don't? Okay, what? Never mind.
You get 2 guesses. Go twice.
No, I'm not going to get 2 guesses. I'm going to go back to my era, 1974. Former offensive coordinator at SFU. He was a pretty good running back, slot back in his day. Terry Bailey.
Bang, Moj.
I'm on fire. Anything 73, 74, I'll tell you the whole starting lineup. That's my wheelhouse. Don Moorhead.
So we got 2 touchdowns in 2013.
Ray Nettles. Garrett Huntsberger. Dave Easley. I can go on and on.
88 is a defensive touchdown.
Oh, okay. 88. Go for it. Who is
no,
this?
it's your
Who's
turn.
It's your turn.
2013, I'm going back.
Yeah, hit 13.
Marco Iannuzzi.
Incorrect, but sort of on the kind of same trajectory.
O'Neal Wilson.
Incorrect.
No,
but we'll go back to Moj.
2013. I can't remember anything from 2013. That's in the blur.
88's a defensive player.
Give me initials in 88.
88's a couple of D linemen. Name some D linemen for me.
Well, give me some initials.
WB.
WB.
Yep. I watched this actually this week.
Wow.
I think
WB.
Mea culpa with this too. I'm pretty
not
sure.
Woody Barron. No.
That's a good WB.
I think it was a fumble recovery too. It looked like he was down, for the record.
Clueless.
But they still
No replay then.
Who was it?
Okay, start giving hints. Okay.
Walter Ballard.
Oh,
okay.
Ballard.
2013.
08, we are looking at a fullback, a Canadian fullback.
Lyle Green. Yeah,
I got
Green.
that one.
Green.
That's
Lyle
mine.
Green. 2013, you guys are for sure going to know. Him and Matthew Betts have something in common.
They're from Laval. David Menard.
No, this is an offensive player.
He's an
2013.
offensive player.
Him and Matthew Betts, they did the same thing.
They tried out for the Detroit Lions.
There you go.
2013.
Who tried out for the Lions in 2013?
You'll know this name. Trevor knows it, I think.
Say it. Stephen Logan. Oh, yeah.
Nicely
and
done.
then who's the hint on the last one?
T-Mark, good one.
It's a receiver, I'm pretty sure. I'm just going to confirm that. T, is, first name starts with a T. Kind of. Oh, no, sorry, this is a quarterback. What am I thinking? Here's another quarterback.
In 2000.
Must have been on a sneak.
Travis Partridge.
Nope. Close.
Thomas DeMarco.
DeMarco. There you go. So those are all 19 names. Mix of legends, mix of
good job.
Unsung heroes.
Good job. That was good.
You guys crushed that.
Remember Thomas DeMarco had like super huge feet?
Was that it? Yeah.
Like he had like size 14s or something. Like that. And you remember he played at a really small school too. Old Dominion, that's where he played.
That's right, yeah.
Not to go down a big BC Lions and feet rabbit hole, but I was at Shaun White's birthday party last week, and I did not realize how big Christian Covington's feet are. It's ridiculous.
They are like
big
massive.
Time.
If any,
like they've got to be like 14s, 15s.
I think he got a size 17 for the bowling, and it blew my mind. And then I saw.
Is that what size 17?
Yeah, well, go
that big?
Go to practice and look at Christian Covington's shoes. They're abnormally big.
By the way, back to 2013. That game still makes me cringe. Lions had a lead. Darian Durant started running. They couldn't stop the run. G-Roy was on the Riders, and then Saskatchewan went on to win the Grey Cup. So.
I'm still remembering 73 and 74. All right, speaking of Grey Cup, before we get out of here,
yes.
Grey Cup update, Mr. Baker.
Yeah, GreyCupFestival.ca. Ticket sales going strong. We're going to get this over the finish line. Still a couple more weeks to sell it out, but it's not just about the game is the main event. Plan your party. That's what we're encouraging you to do. So, you get the team party pass tickets. It's all at the convention center. I saw some pictures online today. They tested out the zip lines today. Mm-hmm. So you and Julio and
we're doing tandem.
And Farhan are going to go. No Farhan? No.
Well, Farhan will probably have like a camera crew out there following him around.
Yeah.
And do a pre and post
probably
press
have
conference.
Julio
and I'll just go
a live Twitter video.
Julio and I are
one-on-one.
just going to go in the middle of the night. People won't even know we did it.
And hopefully we're going to be working. But I'll tell you what, Grey Cup's so special. Last couple of years, we've all been in there. Hamilton, Regina, the year before that. This is going to be the best one yet. We can feel it. There's a concert series.
Hey, big news today.
5440, playing the Gala Party. One of I love 5440.
I think they're great.
Yeah,
I think they're vastly underrated as a Canadian band.
It's one of those. Oh yeah, they got a few good hits, but then you go see them perform. It's just 2 hours straight of hits, great hits. Songs. Ocean Pearl, that's a good one.
Everybody's always
love.
On this tragically hip bandwagon. Meanwhile, 5440.
I like the hip, but 5440. That's the. That's the Gala concert. Biff Naked's playing, Tailgate. There's going to be all kinds of great stuff on Pacific Boulevard. GreyCupFestival.ca. Plan your trip. Spirit of Edmonton breakfast, always a good one if you want to get up early on the Saturday.
And the big key here is someone who's attended many big events, small footprint. As Lions President Dwayne Minot told us last week, it's a small footprint, which means you can get around from place to place and not have to spend 45 minutes in a cab.
And it's really special, too. You have fans in all different colored jerseys. Everyone has fun. Everyone gets along. So,
all right, that's a wrap for us today. And again, a big thank you to Yash and his staff at Boston Pizza here, 152nd and 100th Avenue in Surrey. And again, check it out. They got great game day specials. They got lunch specials, all of it right here at Boston Pizza, 15125 100th Avenue in Surrey. Again, a big thank you to Nick Kowalski, Matt Baker, our guest tonight, Lions quarterback Jalon Edwards-Cooper, and again, the staff here at Boston Pizza. You know what I'm going to tell you before we get out of here? Do what you got to do. Go for it. Just do us a favor. Be safe. You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKN.